Good morning. Okay, so please share. If you are watching and you see this red little live tag here, that means that you are live with me. If it's not there, comment #replay. Also, please share this because this is something that I know people will find so valuable, and I want to help as many people as I can get off of this vicious cycle. Don't mind me while you're sharing and letting me know that you are here. I am going to share to a couple of places that I need to share as well. So again, say hello, let me know that you are here. And I think you know that I usually turn off the comments so that I don't get distracted. I need to stay on point. Otherwise, what could be a 10 or 20 minute live turns into 20, 30, 40 minutes because I end up, getting sidetracked and I go in circles and all that stuff. So once again, let me know you're here. If you see the red tag here, it means you're live with me. If you don't, hit #replay so that I know that you saw, that you came and heard. And I'm really excited to help you today because this is going to be like, oh my gosh, this could be a pivotal moment for you. And I cannot wait to help. So make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pencil so that you can take notes, because it's not just as simple as, okay, you need to stop and that is that, because there's way more to this whole thing than you think, okay? And if this makes sense to you, meaning, oh, I screwed up, I'm just gonna start over Monday, or I ate this, I'm just gonna start over Monday, or I'm just gonna start over tomorrow, or I fucked up, excuse my F-bombs, but I'm a swearer, okay? Make sure that you are sharing, whether this has to do with your diet, your nutrition, or anything that you want to accomplish and you find yourself always saying, I need to start over, you need to watch this and you need to share, okay? So please make sure that you're sharing. So here's the thing, we're gonna get started. I need you to grab a piece of paper and pencil because I'm gonna share some very good information, and this is going to help you tremendously today, so stick with me. So once again, like I said, if you find yourself in that constant pattern, then you need to watch this. And again, it's about, first of all, number one, it's about thinking that everything has to be perfect. That's number one. And so I'm gonna try and slide I need to turn my comments. There we go. So first of all, for whatever reason, whenever, and mind you, I have some music going on in the background because Colin's trying to keep Ayana entertained, so hope you don't mind that. Part of the problem is that you have this belief that you think everything has to be perfect, all or nothing. It has to be perfect or it's out of control. That whole, I'm on the wagon, I'm off the wagon, that whole thing needs to go bye-bye. That is part of the problem because the expectations of being perfect are getting in your way. Nothing is perfect. The goal here in your life is not to be perfect. The goal is to make the best possible decision that you can at that time. So shit can the perfectionism, because that is a huge problem that you are not recognizing. You think, oh, if I kind of, whatever it was, maybe what you're trying to do is lose weight. Let's just talk weight because that's easy, because I know everybody in life is always trying to lose something, right? Some kind of poundage. So they think, oh, I had a cookie, I screwed up, that's it, I gotta start over. No, you do not start over. You just keep moving forward. You keep making positive choices. You recognize that you made the choice. It was a conscious choice that you made. So you own it, you don't live in this guilt, and you keep moving forward. So this is something that I want to share with you that I share with my clients, and I know that this is going to be super valuable to you. And if you are a client watching, well then great, because then this is going to be something that you can watch again because you cannot ever hear something too many times, because like I always say, 70 times 7,000. So again, please share this, because I know that this is going to help a lot of people, and it's going to definitely help you. So make sure that you are taking notes. So first of all, I'm going to talk to you about some of the behavioral aspect of things and why you keep doing what you're doing and why you're repeating. But then we're also going to talk about routines, commitments, the habits and the loops that you get in. Okay, so if excuse me, hopefully you can stick around and watch the whole thing. If not, maybe you can watch part of it and then come back, and then you can watch the rest of it. So the first thing is, like I said, you want to get rid of the perfectionism, because what that does is you're constantly setting yourself up for failure, because perfectionism does not exist. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be perfect. I don't, you know, that would be a miserable life to live. And starting over is part of that miserable life, because that's what you're doing, is you're constantly starting over because you keep seeking this perfectionism. So that's number one. So that keeps you also in that all or nothing mindset, which is destructive. Okay, that's that whole I'm on the wagon, off the wagon. So that's number two. The other thing that I want to talk about right now is called the 5 steps of emotional change. This is extremely important for you to understand, because when you know that when you are aware of something, that this could possibly happen, don't you handle the situation better? So I'm going to explain to you what keeps happening with you and where you keep spending your time, and what you need to do so that you can get past all of that, that little slippery slope. Now, this is probably going to look backwards to you, and this is my beautiful little drawing. Oh my gosh, it doesn't look very, now that I look at it. I want you to visualize this bell, okay? And then there's this bottom part here. So this is what would be considered the 5 steps of emotional change. Now, let me just tell you what the steps are, then we'll go back to the visual. So the first step is called uninformed optimism. And this is that, you know, that feeling that you get, I'm so excited. I'm going to start this new program on Monday. So it's Thursday. I'm going to get everything out of my system. I know how you think. I know exactly what you're telling yourself. So stop it, okay? Stop that whole mindset. I'm so excited. It's going to be different this time. This time it's going to work. It's for real. I am not going to make any mistakes this time. I am going to be perfect, because that's what you're telling yourself in your head. Because in your head, right now, let's say it's Thursday, which it is, you're going to get out of control, because that's what it is, Thursday to Sunday. And then Monday, I'm perfect. I am going to make every decision perfectly. Do you see what I'm saying? That pattern, get the fuck out of it. That is ruining you, okay? So, uninformed optimism, basically that whole positivity, like where I have this star, you're excited. I'm going to start this thing. Your dopamine receptors are going crazy because you just have this, I just know this is going to be it. This is going to be the change. I'm not going to eat carbs for the rest of my life. Or I'm going to do this. And, and you do all this crazy, irrational, fucked up thinking. Excuse my language, but, I'm just a F-bomber. But anyway, so you're excited. You start. Everything is great. You're feeling good. You're like, okay, this isn't too bad. Again, you can't make any mistakes because you got to be perfect. So Monday through Thursday, you're right on perfect. Then step 2 comes in and you start to shift towards the negative, because you know what? The weekend's coming and Sally Sue's party is coming. And you know what? When you go to Sally Sue's party, you have a hard time being perfect. You have a hard time staying on track. So that's when you start thinking, gosh, you know what? The cost of these changes, I don't know if it's really worth it. I don't really know if I want to do this. Maybe I wasn't in such a bad spot as I thought. Let me reconsider. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to go to Sally Sue's party. I'm going to, and then I'll just start it again on Monday. Does that sound familiar? If that's you, please give me some hearts, okay? Because I know that was me for years, and I know that it is you, okay? I know the thought process. I get it. I totally get it. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person because of it. I'm not saying you're a loser because of it. And I am not saying that you cannot change this. This is why I'm doing this live for you. I'm trying to help create awareness that you understand what is going on. So most people, here's the thing, quit in this end of this whole routine, okay? You're excited, dopamine receptors, it's gonna be different this time. You start going down, you learn of Sally Sue's party, then you're like, oh, it's not, maybe I wasn't so bad after all. This right here, my friend, is where you spend your time. You go from here and then you go back here. So this is like your vicious little living circle, cycle, whatever you want to call it. So you keep starting over on Monday, here's Thursday, you keep going over and over and over again. Now, at that bottom point, you see how I have that line here? Because this is what's called the valley of despair. This is uncomfortable for you. It's an uncomfortable area, so that's why you go back, right, to that start over point. Because you want to feel good again. So what do? You go back up there. So that's where your little comfortable blanket is. That's where your, the little wubby is. Oh, I just feel good over here. I feel good. It's not necessarily where I want to be, but I feel good up here. I feel like I can manage this. I'm not so bad. Maybe I was disgusted last week, but this week I'm not so bad. It's not so terrible. So you start to convince yourself. Life starts to convince you. You start listening to your crazy thoughts. And so then you're right back where you started. Then what happens? Monday or Sunday night, you get excited. The dopamine receptors are going crazy because you're going to start over Monday. And you're excited because it's going to be different this time. Do you see what I'm saying? So here's the tip that I have for you. When you get to that point, when you're halfway down that slope and there's that valley of despair, which is where most people quit, this is where half of the world spends their time. They spend their time in between that ladder, okay? Here to here, here to here, here to here, that's where they're at. Forever and for years, and they may just live their entire life that way. Who knows? I don't know. But the people that end up, the ones that you admire and the ones that you're looking at going, God, how did she do it? It just seemed like a couple months ago she was, saying how uncomfortable she was, and now look at her. She's lost 60 pounds. How come I can't do it? What am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? You want to know why? Because Sally Sue decided that going back and forth wasn't what she wanted to do anymore. It was uncomfortable. She didn't like it. She hated it. She had her moments of wanting to go back up to that area where it felt comfortable, but instead she embraced this area. This is what I call the uncomfortable hallway, right here. Instead, Sally Sue said, you know what? I didn't come this far to come this far. I've already started something. I am not quitting. In addition, she probably had an emotional totem, which I call it, which is something that is your why. It is your why. It is why you are doing it. Why? Do you want to feel better? Are you, suffering from achiness and ailments, and, you're just sick of being in the size 16, and you just look at, other people, and you're just tired of not being who you can be inside. And you look in the mirror and you're like, who is this person? I don't recognize, I don't recognize them. So you embrace that uncomfortable hallway. You walk through it. Yes, it's going to suck at times. But let me tell you, on the other side of that hallway, and it's not the only hallway you're going to encounter. You're going to embrace these little hallways all the way through this journey. But when you walk through that hallway and you get on that other side of that valley of despair, you are now on the other side with a much smaller percentage of individuals that are over here on the other side of that fence. This is the side where I would like to be forever. Okay? Here's the valley of despair, and I just want to keep on coming up and coming up and coming up, going on another trajectory. I spent way too much of my life over here. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be over there anymore. That's not where I want to be, and I don't want you to be there either, because there's nothing really good that happens over here. You're just repeating the same shit. So why repeat the same stuff that isn't working? Period. Okay? So once you get over that valley of despair, then you get into what's called the informed optimism. That's when you're like, oh my gosh, this is working. What I am doing is working. It makes me feel better. You know what? Maybe I didn't lose such and such pounds that I delusionally said that I was going to lose. But holy crap, during this process, I realized what bad habits I had, which you're going to talk about in a minute. I realized that I can do anything. I realized that I am more capable. I realized that I am capable of loving myself, and I have a greater capacity within myself. I can do anything. This is when I see the lives changing. This is when people start to have that light bulb moment. This is when you see those people that have had these pivotal movements or changes within their life, and all of a sudden you see that they're becoming a personal trainer or a nutritionist, or they quit their job, or they, and they go towards their passion, or they realize that the relationship that they're in was really dragging them down. That's where the changes are being made, right there. Right over there on that side of that bell. So I want you to keep that in mind. So again, let's repeat this. Uninformed optimism, informed pessimism, the valley of despair, which is what we want to shoot for. We want to get there. We want to get to that feeling. We want to get to that uncomfortableness. When you get to that feeling of discomfort, that's when you know what you're doing is leading you in the right direction, because nothing comfortable leads to change. You need to get uncomfortable, period. Then that's when you get on the other side. You're like, oh my gosh, this is really working. I can do this. I'm a superstar. I have superpowers. I can change the world. Okay. Then you get up here higher in that area, and that's when you have your success and your fulfillment, and that's when you fully experience the benefits of all the change and the process that you've gone through. But again, at that point, you've really become an influencer to others because people are watching you. You have become, you've put yourself in a position of a seeker. You then start to, well, if I can feel this good going through this, well, I want to do that now. And then you start to just start up-leveling. So over here on this side, this is the side of where you will start to really up level. So again, you've got that whole bell, and on the one side, this is where you're just going to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I know that you can recognize that. I get it. We all do it. We all do it. And until we get to that point that of wanting to get uncomfortable to change, then you'll get on that other side, okay? So now that you understand that the behavioral side of things, you also have to remember that the reason why you stay on this side is not only because of not wanting to feel the feelings of discomfort, but it's also because you have habit loops. Your brain has, you have basically trained your brain. Okay, and so I talk about this a lot, and I'm going to talk about it again really briefly, and I challenge you to look for your habits and your triggers today. You can start making change right now. If you recognize your habit loops, the triggers, the routine, and the reward that you are after, you can make change now. So here's an example of a habit loop. Here's something for me, easy. You guys know I've been very transparent about drinking. Okay, so for me, the weekends have always been a trigger. I was always a weekend warrior. I partied for years. It started when I was in high school, very young. We listened to music, we partied, all that. It was fun. Yay! That was what I enjoyed. And that's where I wanted to live and be and all that. I don't regret it. I'm not saying that you're awful if you do that. But for me, a trigger is, it's funny, but it's a day. Not around the baby, Colin. A trigger for me is the day of the week, which is Friday and Saturday. Another trigger for me is music. Also triggers for you could be a smell could be a trigger. A person could be a trigger. Turning on the TV, Netflix could be your trigger, because when you watch Netflix, what do? You might grab your popcorn and chocolate, or you have your glass of wine. Do you see what I'm saying? So here's a common trigger for some people, the car. You get into the car and some people smoke. Okay, so, I want you to really look around and really be aware. Put a different pair of glasses on today and really be aware of what are my habit loops. I'll tell you another thing that's a habit loop. This right here. People are addicted to starting over because this always feels really good to be here. So that in itself is a whole habit loop. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's that whole vicious thing. That is a habit loop, okay? So now that we kind of understand that the whole behavioral thing, the repetition, the habits, the vicious cycle, the circle, how it all kind of ties in together, because I know people over and over, and I see it constantly over and over. I don't understand why I can't stay committed to something. This is why. This is why. This is why. Okay? So if you have awareness of this, which is what I am doing, creating awareness that you have this understanding, when you have an awareness of something, then you are better capable of walking through the journey. Because you're like, oh, here's that uninformed optimism step Kelly was talking about. Oh, geez, I'm in the valley of despair. When you are able to recognize this, then you're able to say, I got you. I knew you were coming, but I got you. I am conquering. See you. I'm walking through the valley of despair, and I'm going on the other side. You know what I'm saying? So that is why you have issues with that commitment, because of the habit loops, and it's all that, okay? So I also want to talk about the importance of routines, okay? Now, routines, whether you believe this or realize this or not, you need to live your life. You need to be in control of your day, every minute, every moment, the best that you possibly can. You do not want to be a dead fish just going with the flow. Okay, I'm just here in what we call life, and somebody's supposed to tell me what to do. No. You need to be in a position of, okay, so when I wake up tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. So it's like you plan out what you have going on so that you can structure your day. You can better predict what is going to happen in your day. Therefore, you can better control all of the habit loops and the triggers that we just talked about. So my recommendation to you would be to wake up and have a morning routine that you can feel like, I feel just in control, okay? Because that's what this is really all about. It's about being in control, out of control. You don't like this. I know you don't like feeling out of control. I know that. I'm you. I get it. Okay? So a routine will help you, to feel more in control, but it will also help you to recognize these gaps that you keep getting stuck in. Okay? There's when you find these gaps, that when you're like, oh, I need to tighten that loop up so that I don't fall into this gap, which is ultimately going to help or going to trigger me into starting over, or maybe quote unquote using the word fail, if you want to use that word. Colin, I'm almost done. Or, the good and the bad, that whole thing. I was good this week, I was good, and then came Thursday, and, then it all just went to shit. So, you know what I'm saying? I know what you're telling yourself, okay? So, routine, the commitment is all about the behavior. The commitment will come when you recognize the behavioral and habit loops that you keep repeating. Okay? That's one of the biggest things people say, I just don't understand why I can't stay committed. I don't get it. I'm always falling into this thing. This is it. Okay? If you want to talk more about this, we can talk. I will help you. You just have to reach out, message me, or comment below, and we'll have a conversation, and I can help you, okay? So, once again, if you found value, please let me know what resonated with you the most. Also, please do not hesitate to share, because this is valuable information. You know, this is something that somebody could go, oh my God, I never even looked at it like that. And this could really, you know, help to change somebody's life. So I hope that you found value. Thank you for tuning in. And, just bring her over here. Set her down. And then put the lid on there. And then we will, hopefully we can have a conversation. And also to start your, to start getting on the right track, what you can do also is go to my carb sensitivity quiz. That'll help you as well. If you go to www.kellydcarbquiz, oh look, that's nice, .com, that will also help you as well, just to kind of get started somewhere, okay? That's like with your eating, okay? If you're feeling out of control, this will help you gain some of that control back. So once again, sorry for the last minute interruptions, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Bye.